Hello and welcome to this OnShape tutorial for designing the body of a Scalextric schools car. I will apologise that this is a bit of a learning experience for myself as well. I'm not the most au fait with OnShape, but we'll give it a go. I've tried to keep the design quite blocky at this stage, so we are using a 1980s Audi Quattro rally car as our inspiration. So to start with, I need to load that inspiration, that picture in. So I go down to the bottom there where it says insert new element and I click import, and I'm just going to load up my Audi. So that's now loaded, so we can close that down, and we start by doing a sketch. So I'm going to click new sketch. It asks select a sketch plane, which is front, and then we press the picture button. It might come up with insert DFX or DWG. I insert an image, and it then asks me to draw a rectangle. So to do that, it's probably best to click on front, and I'll start just off screen there. And I'm just looking to draw, as a good guess. You can move it about as long as you don't lock it to part of the existing body that we've drawn. You'll be fine there. So there comes in the car. Now what I need to do is I need to keep this quite blocky at this point. For the shelling and things like that. So I'm just going to now do a new sketch. So sketch, this is sketch 2 onto the front plane, and I'm going to start at this bottom corner. I'm going to go to zoom in a bit. So I want to keep this quite blocky for the moment. So it would just make things easier. Nice straight line all the way across the wall. Yeah, I'm going to line it won't matter too much. Now you'll notice at the moment I'm not bothering with the bumpers. I'll add them on afterwards because they can be a little bit tricky to shell at times. So there. So I've got my shape, you can see it's shaded in. I'm going to press the tick, click on extrude 2 and extrude, and then click on shell 2. You'll see if I right mouse button it's set to 25. I will take it down to about 22 because the Audi has got quite big wheel arches. So I'm going to press OK on there. Now I'll try and add the wheel arches and then see if I can shell it afterwards. If not, I might have to add the shell before. So we'll add the shell and just see what happens. So if I click shell, and I'm going to click this back plate, and you can see straight away I've got a 2.5 shell. We'll take it down to 1.5. Now what I'll do is I'll add the wheel arches, and hopefully if it all works I'll be able to move that shell down to below them. So we'll click on sketch, and I'm going to click on this front face again, but this time I've clicked on the front face of the block. So I'm going to go around to the front, and I'm going to add on the back section first. So I'm going to draw my line roughly from the back there down, scroll into it, stops at that point, go right the way across. It doesn't matter. Ooh. Make sure I go to the end of my line. So you don't want a slightly different profile coming up. So we're just trying to follow, a bit like dot to dot, tracing over what I've already drawn. There probably is a better way of doing this, and if that's the case, please add it into the comments, do tell us. So hopefully now if I press the tick, I'll just spin it round, and I'm going to press sketch 3 and extrude. It's going to pull out. I'm going to extrude this to 5, I believe, which puts me in line with that flat section. Now we spoke about the shell before. Now I'm hopeful that if I take shell and pull it down, I thought that might happen. It's failed. Doesn't matter, we'll put it back above. So we've still got our shell in there. It won't be too disastrous because it's only, we're going to remove this part later anyway. So we now do our next sketch, which is now for the front wheel arches. So I'm just going to do exactly the same thing, and this time I'll just zoom in. I'm going to put my lines in for the front wheel arches. So it comes out there, I think, straight down, keeping it blocky again at this point. Back to itself, press the tick, extrude 4 clicked on, sorry, sketch 4 clicked on, press extrude, and I know from the back that the number needs to be 5. If I just spin that around now, you can now see we've got the shape starting to appear of the Audi. So I'm going to do the roof now, and then we'll look at rounding some of this off to try and get the shapes that we want. Say, keeping it blocky to start with does help. You can always play about with the rounds and change the rounds as you go. So I'm just going to click sketch, click on front again, which I think is that one, spin it round. So I'm going to add my front, add my keep it very simple, so it's just very simple shape sketched round, press extrude, extrude of sketch 5, spin it round, so we were 22 I think before, so if we want it to sit together like that, so we're going to press 22. If you want it to be in by a little bit, I can put 21, or just leave that edge there. I'm going to keep mine 22 for this design, and then press the tick. So I've got the basic shape. I'm not too worried that I haven't shelved the top of the car, basically because I'm now going to put windows and things into it, so it's going to be quite hollow anyway by the time I've finished. Again, if you were doing this to be 3D printed, you'd want to put the windows in. If you were going to CNC this and use it as a mould, you probably wouldn't need to worry about the shells. So I think the next thing we're probably best doing is we'll put on some of these bumpers, and then I'll look at adding the rounds on that. So I'm going to start with the back bumper. So I'm going to click sketch, and this time, because I want my bumper to stick out a little bit, I'm just going to scroll right in on the edge of the wheel arch there and use that, and I'm just going to basically trace around that design there. So I've got a straight line there, it comes down there. I will square this off just to make it easier. Press OK, so you can see it there. Sketch 6 I'll highlight, press extrude. I want it to flip the opposite direction, and I can actually go to a surface. So I'm actually going to select, solid. I don't want it to press the wrong button there. I want it to go to face. I'm just going to select that back face there. So now you'll see my bumper sticks out on the back of the car. Now I'm going to do the same for the front, but this time I don't want it to stick it out quite as far, so I'm going to use the sketch and click this front area there, and I'm just going to do exactly the same again, just trace around, add, let's bring it in a little bit more there. I've got my shape, press tick, sketch 7, extrude. You'll see it's going in the opposite direction, so I'm going to do it to a face, and I'll click that same face there, and we have our front bumper. It does possibly stick out a little bit too far, so I can fix that, and the easiest way to fix that is just to select the edge of it, and I'm just going to do a little extrude on the front of it. So I'm just going to click sketch, click that front face, I'm not happy with it. I'm just going to draw a box around there, making sure I haven't nicked that line there. It's close. That's okay. Sketch 8, extrude. I'm going to go 3mm, the opposite direction, and we'll click on remove. So now I can just have a look at that. Let's try 2.5. Just trying to find the. So that's the basic car body done. We can add some rounds to it now and see what we come up with. I will put in some side windows and a front window, I think, just so you can get the idea. But before I do that, I'm just going to round off the roof. So let's hide. I'm just going to click on sketch 1 and just hide that for a moment, just so I can see. It gets a bit too many things in your workplace. So I'm just going to click on the fillet and I'm going to start picking some of the edges. So that's giving me a round of 3. Let's try 5, just see what it looks like. I'll click the other edges. So yeah, that's quite nice. I'm happy with that. I'll click that. I'll do another fillet, this time on the back section there. Maybe I'll try 20, see what it looks like. Yeah, let's try 20 on the front as well. We're slightly getting a more streamlined. I'll leave it at that for the moment because I'm now going to put my windows in. So I'll just click sketch, front. If I want to, I can go back to sketch 1 and I can bring that up now. So I can see the shape of the windows. So I'm going to use the lines I had before, put them in. That's the tip. Sketch 9, extrude. Oh, something's gone wrong there. Just cancel. Let's go back to edit. What have I done wrong? I don't think it's picked up on all this. Picked up on from there. Yeah. Just see. Extrude. No. Still not liking something there, so we just cancel it. Just delete that and draw it again. Might be because I've got them slightly. Somebody probably tell me what I've done wrong where. It's probably something to do with having them both on that same line, so I'm just zooming a bit more now. And I'll make sure I just leave a little gap this time. And I'll make sure I just left. So gap. This one's the important one, so hopefully that's, now I've left that little gap there. When I click extrude, it will come out, so I can do remove. Same the other way. Let's make sure it's going to go through, so I'll put 30 in there. Tick. And now you can see that we've got the holes there all the way through. If I'm going to do the front window, I need to think about my positioning of it. So if I do it on a flat surface here, you're going to end up with the window pointing down in this direction. So I'm just going to look for a flat surface. I think that's a flat surface there. So I'll use this flat surface in the front of the car. And we're now clicking on the right surface. And I'm just going to draw on a rectangle, which is going to form the front window. Put the tick, so you can see it's there. We go sketch 10, extrude. We have to drag it all the way back. Make sure I press remove. Oops. And we'll take that out the whole of the car. So now you can see we've got the design of the car there. So I'll go back to sketch 1, hide that. You can see the shape of the car there. If I'd wanted to, I'd have probably tidied that up a little bit. You could remove this part if we wanted to, and I might just do that for you in a second, but we'll round it off first and get the car design. So let's do that. Scalextric. So I'm going to start working on the bits I want to round off, and this is trial and error. So if I click on that shape there, it immediately comes in with a 20. I'm like, it's not bad, but let's see what 10 looks like. Meet in the middle, 15. And I just go around now, rounding off as many of these points as possible. So what I'll probably do is I'll just probably speed up this part of the video, because you don't want to see everything I do. Give it 10 on there. Let's try 10 on the front there. That's quite nice. That 10 probably needs to be a lot more, so 100. Ooh. What I forgot to say is I'm going to have to press the tick, and then I'll come back in and change that one to 100. Press the tick. Much nicer shape on the front there. We are around the edge. If it will let me, I'll try and do it 5, because that will hopefully then tie in with my front piece here. So I'll put the 5 on there, so you can see we've got that wheel arch coming on. You can also try and put 1 in there. It might not work. Get a 3 round on there. Let's building that round. And come and do the back. So we've got 5 and 3 on there. We'll leave it at 3. We'll try and do a 3 on the front there as well. Doesn't like it, so we'll take that off for the moment. Press the tick. We'll try. We'll take a 3 now. Funny how it does that sometimes. We'll get a 5 on there. Oh, 5. I'll look at rounding off this section. Well, let me do a 5. Let's try 3. No, 2. Yeah, 2 on there. You can just see I can start to get the design for the car. I want it. I want another 100 round on there, which is 200. There we go. So smoothing off that edge. I've got to try and round this edge. I don't know how successful that will be. We'll try and see what we can get on there. It's obviously not going to take 200, but we're going to take something like a 2mm round. 2, 3, 4. Right, so 3 is my maximum. I'll put that on 2, let's try 3. See at the same time, I'll get it to round up. Okay, so I've just came round now, I'm just rounding all of my, let me change that one to a 2. Two on there, 2 on there. Just the tick. We need to put a round on here. 2s for most of this. Oh, let's try and do my side skirts. See what it will give me on there. Can I get a 5 for example? Make quite a big no. 5. It's quite nice. I'll just try and edge here again with a round. What would be 5, but it might get me 2 on there. So, and then we'll just finish off this back end. So, wasn't nice for 2 on there. It might have to go down to a 1. Yep, 1 on there. Let's try a 1 just on that part, just to fill it in. And that part we'll do 1, just to try and get this to all match. You see how it matches there. Let's try and do this one to 5, hopefully, so it would match the bottom curve there. So I think I'm quite happy with that for the moment. All I am going to do is just put some rounds in here. So I'm just noticing this is an area of weakness. So you just see straighten that up. So what's left to do then is to mirror the car. Don't just hate it when you forget how to mirror something. So I think, if I remember, I need to press this one. So I want to mirror that, and the plane is going to be the and we get a design car just like that. So that's the idea of designing a car. I did say I'm going to take out these parts, so I will just show you that. So we'll just grab the bar below. So I'm going to work on the back side this time and press extrude for the back. So all I'm literally going to do now is from the back here, draw a rectangle back. Okay. Press, sketch, extrude, remove. Won't do blind, I'll do to a face, and I'll click on that face there. And hopefully we've now removed. Now we just notice it has left a little hole there, so I'll just go back into sketch, edit it. So I want back, and all I'll do is drag that a little bit in a bit nearer. So now we've protected that corner. The other thing I want to do to make this car body is I'd take out these parts on the back here. So we probably need to do it to 3.1. So 3, 1, 2, 3, and then just for my own benefit, I'd go from there to there, that way to the front, and I'll take out the whole of that section there if it was me. Press the tick, press extrude, remove, opposite direction. And we want to make sure that goes to say 30. That's 35. Press the tick. And then that gives you your hollow car. If if I drag the line below the mirror, you've then got your car designed completely hollow, which will fit over the standard Scalextric for Schools part. You might have to do some trimming of the bottom to make it fit, but that should more or less fit over one of the chassis, particularly if you're vacuum forming. I hope that's been helpful. You could go and add lights and detail onto the front here if you wanted to, but that's just to give you a basic idea of creating something with the Scalextric for Schools and OnShape. Thanks for watching.